A game of Russian roulette leaves a 16-year-old Houston boy on life support.
I'm Liz X, and all the rain turned Houston into one big traffic jam today. I'll have a live report. Along the cocaine trail, those who were once untouchable are now spending some time behind bars.
I'm Frank Billingsley at the Astrodome, where folks are already filing in for the sold-out George Strait concert. Combine that with the weather, we're talking a massive traffic problem. I'll have a live report.
You're watching Channel 13, KTRK TV, Houston. Live at 5 with Melanie Lawson, Alan Himberger. The sports with Tim Melton. The weather with Joe Diaz. Now, live at 5.
Busy highways and bad weather make a nightmarish combination for Houston commuters. After a full day of rain and wrecks, some freeways looked a lot more like parking lots. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 5 on a rainy and very dreary day. The gray skies have been a problem for motorists all afternoon. We'll take a look at the latest traffic situation in just a moment.
But first, a teenage boy who's in Ben Taub Hospital this afternoon on a life support machine, the victim of gunplay. Our Cynthia Cisneros is standing by right now, southeast of downtown where the shooting took place. Cindy, tell us what happened.
Alan and Melanie, it seems that a bunch of kids were hanging out in this house behind me in southeast Houston after school about 1 o'clock this afternoon when a 16-year-old male pulled out a gun. When police arrived, they found a 16-year-old male shot at point-blank range in the head.
According to witnesses that were inside, 6 kids inside, one of them pulled out a gun, .22 pistol, and played Russian roulette with it. Took all the bullets out, spun the cylinder, then he put one bullet back in, looked at the gun, said a word, and then he stuck it to his head and pulled the trigger.
The gun used in the shooting is now in police custody and is being checked for fingerprints. At this point, police don't know who the gun belonged to. The rest of the teenagers have been taken to police headquarters to give their statements. There are no arrests. Police are calling this an unfortunate accident. You know, the neighbors here have told us that this house is a pretty popular hangout with kids after school. In fact, while we've been here, a lot of kids have been a steady stream of them coming and going to see what happened this afternoon. Well, the 16-year-old victim is still at Ben Taub Hospital, still in critical condition, and police are not yet releasing his name. Back to you.
All right, Cynthia, thank you very much.
Well, of course, Mother Nature's wrath has caused quite a few problems for commuters this afternoon.
Traffic was snarled for miles and roadways turned into danger zones. Let's join now our Liz Exon, who is live from West Park and Highway 59, where rush hour, which is normally crazy at this hour, has perhaps slowed down even more. Liz, how do things look out there?
Well, surprise, surprise. Actually, traffic is moving along here quite well for this time of day. But that may be because the rain has stopped here momentarily, and that is good news. But it really has been a nightmare in Houston all day long. It started with rush hour, and it really hasn't gotten any better. People have gotten hurt today. The Jaws of Life, which are equipped on Houston Fire Department ladder trucks, have been used quite a few times in those accidents requiring extrication of accident victims. Fortunately, there have been no fatalities yet. The Accident Division day shift has handled some 70 accidents, and that's nearly double what they usually handle. One of the biggest traffic problems we showed you at the top of the show, that happened on 610 North at 225. An 18-wheeler lost control and jackknifed. Another one, unable to stop, followed suit. No one was injured, but traffic slowed down to a snail's pace for more than an hour. Now, Houston police late this afternoon told me to tell you that if you have loved ones coming home, just be prepared. It probably will take them twice as long to get home as normal because of all the accidents around the city. They say buckle up, and if you're driving, be sure to leave plenty of room between you and that car in front of you, and above all, just have patience today. When it rains in Houston, it creates a mess. Back to you in the studio.
Doesn't look too bad out there right now, though, Liz.
Yeah, really, it's moving along quite well here. Lucky break where we are right now.
But that's only one spot, right?
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Liz. We'll hope for the best.
Well, the question now is, how much more of this rain are we going to get?
And for the answer to that question, we turn, of course, to Joe Diaz, who is standing by in the Weather Center. Joe, can we expect another rainy night or what?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm happy to say the heavy pounding rains are now east of our area. Maybe a shower here and there, but you can see the radar picture. That tells the story. We had some pounding rain. Some areas picking up 2- and 4-inch rainfall rainfall amounts. Officially, we picked up around an inch of rain, but as we get to the end of this loop over here, you can see that the heavy pounding rains have since shifted over into the eastern portion of the state. And Alan and Melanie, I'm happy to report that we were under a flash flood watch, but that has since been canceled, so drier days are ahead, and it starts tonight.
Everything's moving to the north and east at this point, is that right?
Yeah, the eastern portion of Texas will get hammered over the next couple of hours, but not for us.
Good. Okay, Joe, thanks.
Well, as we told you just a moment ago, Frank says there's going to be a lot of traffic out at the rodeo tonight because of the rain, but also because of country superstar George Strait. He's going to be playing to a full house at the livestock show and rodeo. Always means a big headache for motorists, though.
Boy, and on top of this, the weather, the rain has literally washed out one parking area, so the traffic problems at the concert are going to be enormous. Frank Billingsley joins us right now live from the Astrodome parking lot with more on that story. Frank?
Hi, Alan. You're absolutely right. With the George Strait concert sold out and with the parking lot fairly wet in areas, we're going to have a very serious traffic problem. We're at one of the park and ride buses, and I strongly urge you to take them. You can pick them up at the Northline Mall, the Gulf Gate Mall, or the Meyerland Shopping Center. It's only $1 round trip, and it will be well worth your wait for a bus that pulls you right into the Astrodome area, and it's just a short walk right over to where the concert is playing. And tonight, particularly, of all nights, you're going to be needing to make use of these buses. Here's one of the other reasons why, and that is because of the problems with the rain. As we have been mentioning, we have got a problem with the auxiliary parking lot. That holds 5,000 cars normally, but unfortunately, because it is too muddy, it is not going to hold any cars at all. As a result, that is going to cause even more problems. Part of the reason, of course, is because of the man in the white hat. George Strait is going to be playing to a sold-out crowd here tonight, and he is going to be certainly a terrific performer. There's his bus. I knocked on it to see if he'd come out and say hello, but he told me to get out of there, if you know what I mean. He, you might know, is an ex-calf roper. George Strait was in the rodeo circuit for about 5 years before he became a country western singer, and we caught up with a cowboy who is excelling at what he does, and just might remind George of his time in the chutes. You'll remember him from last year, 24-year-old Cody Custer, the 1989 rodeo's hard luck cowboy, the rider selected by the audience who takes the hardest fall. Here's a look at what made him the clear winner.
He turned back into my hand, and I got rocked in there, which they call it the well, which you don't want to be in there because that's where the bull's coming to. And I didn't have any way to get away from him, and he hooked me a couple times, and then threw me underneath him and jumped up and down on me and kind of run me over. And that's another deal. Praise God, it wasn't as bad as it looked.
Cody walked away with a scratch on his shoulder and a prayer in his heart. In fact, this fiercely determined bull rider stands by a deep religious conviction.
You know, I had a good family, and they brought me up, you know, believing in the Lord and trusting in Him, and that's about all I can give my credit to.
Cody prays before each ride, for himself and for the bull, and then he rides, solidly and simply, like he's been doing since he was 13.
I think that's been a lot of my success, is I've taught the basics early, you know, and I've stuck with those basics. I slide away from time to time, and I hit on the ground pretty hard, so I go back to the basics, and it works out.
And if it ever stops working out for Cody Custer, he's ready to begin a rodeo ministry for children. Until then, he'll continue to travel the road 250 days a year, trying to raise his 4th place national standing to 1st place, and probably succeeding.
That kid can ride. For the last 2 years, he has been one of the 10 best in the nation.
That kid sure can ride. I got to mention to you, Alan and Melanie, I have had more remarks on my tennis shoes today from last night. Here are my boots. They are shined. They are polished. I will admit that they were bought in 1978, and I'm wearing white socks under them, but I am doing everything I can to turn myself into a cowboy.
You're giving away all the secrets today, Frank.
I'm an honest guy, but I like wearing boots. They're fun.
Well, I'm proud of you, Frank. I've got to ask you about Cody. Did he ever say what makes somebody do something like this?
I think, well, Cody feels like it's that the Lord has driven him that way, that he's put that desire in him, and so he rides because he feels it within himself to do that. That to him is a calling. That's why he does it. Now, why the other people do it, I don't know, and I know why I wouldn't do it after looking at him on the screen doing it.
And once again, a reminder, we have 5,000 fewer parking spaces
That is
tonight.
absolutely right. There are 5,000 and fewer parking spaces out here because of all the rain. The auxiliary parking lot is underwater. They are expecting about 8,000 people to take advantage tonight of those park and ride buses, and I certainly hope that if you are going by Meyerland or Northline or Gulfgate, you will take advantage of it. I was talking to some friends about the Clint Black concert, and they were in traffic for 2 hours trying to get in here.
Wow.
And it's going to be much the same problem tonight. Leave now if you can.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Frank.
Okay.
Well, certainly a contender for this year's Hard Luck Award is Whitfield.
He's a bull rider who had his hands full, so to speak, with Dr. J.
Where the trouble started to slide away from the rope. Oop, 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 it's getting worse. Now he can't get his hand loose. Ooh, ow, hang on, Whit, you're going with him. I mean, tied to him, and Miles Hare and Rick Chapman are right there to try to save him. They are going to get him loose. Rick gets the tail of the rope. And finally, after all of them get knocked down, he walked away.
Nice that he could walk away from that one. Now, as the Hard Luck winner, Whit gets a trip for 2 on Continental Airlines to any city in the United States.
And when we come back, we will be telling you more about Mexican authorities and how they're trying to plug up that cocaine pipeline through Mexico.
We're also going to talk tacky, as in Mardi Gras souvenirs. Stay with us.
I can go in and find 2 or 3 pieces and pull them together, and they look like I walked out of a department store.
Marshall's Famous Maker Fashions let you follow the sun in style. Imagine the season's latest looks, bright and colorful separates that come together beautifully. Can certainly be a...
The drug war there have made a serious commitment to stopping the flow of drugs through their country, as evidenced by agents who are willing to die fighting the traffickers there.
But there is more proof in the number of smugglers put behind bars and the amount of drugs confiscated. Carlos Aguilar reports from along the cocaine trail in Mexico.
In the past year, a record number of suspected drug smugglers have been arrested in Mexico, almost 12,000. In an adjacent cell sits several hundred kilos of cocaine, only a fraction of the record 35 tons of cocaine confiscated by Mexican federal drug agents along with the narco traffickers. Among those helping the Colombian cocaine cartels get their merchandise to the U.S. are Americans. This Californian was caught with several kilos of cocaine in his gas tank on his 3rd border crossing.
Cocaine, it involves a lot of money, doesn't it?
Yes, I wouldn't be doing it if it didn't involve a lot of money. Somebody offers you $40,000, $50,000. The average person on the street would probably take that. It's easy money, it's quick money, it's fast money. But if you pay, you play.
And some of Mexico's biggest drug smugglers have been busted. In previous Mexican administrations, these big-time traffickers were untouchable. But under the current president, Carlos Salinas de Gortari, some 17 significant drug smugglers are now in jail. Interestingly, these Mexican drug lords, who mainly smuggled marijuana and heroin before and weren't bothered by authorities, were brought down only after they started smuggling cocaine. With the crackdown on the Colombian cocaine cartels, cases were made against the untouchables in Mexico who showed up as customers of the drug producers. Mexico says its offensive against the Colombian cocaine cartels is effective, but admits the drug war is far from being won. Carlos Aguilar, 13 Eyewitness News in Mexico City.
And tomorrow, Carlos looks at the history of corruption in Mexican drug enforcement and how the new administration there is struggling to make it a thing of the past.
But now let's turn our attentions to something a little more recreational, spending money on tacky souvenirs, a favorite pastime of a lot of folks who go to the Mardi Gras.
I know it's been one of my favorite pastimes. Galveston officials are hoping that each person spends at least $20 in tacky tokens. Christy Myers explains there's more to Mardi Gras than just beads.
Go looking for tacky souvenirs, and the first things you'll find are T-shirts and jewelry. But take a closer look at these earrings. They're made out of the Mardi Gras poster.
And they're finished so they can take the rain.
The Phoenix Bakery is selling Mardi Gras mythology, a king cake. And if you cut it just right, you get a slice with a doubloon inside.
I have to throw the next party for Mardi Gras.
At that next party, you'll need a costume. How about a lampshade for your head? What do you think?
Oh, I think it's gorgeous. I need this to wear to church.
or a mask. Some are beautiful and some are tacky.
The Flying Nun, or maybe Wonder Woman. And if you don't like that, we can go flying off into the blue yonder.
Or
but I like
you could be Miss Piggy.
She-
Want more tacky souvenirs? How about Back to the Future glasses? And the souvenirs get worse.
They're called teasers. You wear them today and use them tonight.
Barbara Story also sells adult pacifiers.
That's for the ones who want to act like a baby down here. Can put a diaper on and come as a baby.
And then if you don't gather enough bubbles and beads during the Mardi Gras parades, for a quarter or so, you can buy your own tacky doubloons, tacky beads, tacky souvenirs. From Galveston, Christy Myers, 13 Eyewitness News.
That was a tacky report. Wasn't it?
It was great.
A lot of tacky things in there. And we'll
I
take
can't wait
tack
to
and
get
not
down.
mention them.
Absolutely. But speaking of tacky, do you want to talk about the Rockets?
No, let's talk about the heavyweight champ. Mike Tyson is no longer the heavyweight champ, and there's renewed interest now in that division, as Tim Melton's going to show us.
Your Chevy First Team dealers want to give you what you've always wanted in a car.
A low price.
You got it. Beretta's only $99.95. That includes your $750 cash rebate.
I want a lot of options.
You got it. Buy a Beretta GTZ loaded with all this equipment standard.
Okay. Help me with my down payment.
You got it. First-time buyers get $600 to apply toward your down payment. So don't wait. Get your new Beretta now.
Hey, I got it.
See your Chevy First Team dealer now.
I got caught in a love triangle up at Taco Bell. When I tried that new steak taco with a soft tortilla, yeah. And then I took a bite of the new chicken taco and it stole my heart as well. And I was already in love with the 49-cent taco with a crunchy shell. Now I'm caught in a love triangle up at Taco Bell. I got caught. I better run for the border.
Clothes piling up? Tired of hauling them to laundromats? Need a new washer dryer now?
Hello, Remco?
Rent to own from your friends at Rimco. You never need lots of cash or even credit. Just call and it's there.
The question is, how do you get the sofa you want in the style and fabric you want and get it in 35 days? The answer, Furniture Idea. And save now during our grand opening sale. First, make your choice from over 400 styles and choose from over 1,000 fabrics. Then put the fabric of your choice on the style of your choice and get it as a sofa and love seat, or sleeper and chair, or even a sectional and get delivery in just 35 days. Save now during Furniture Idea's grand opening sale.
As promised, Tim Melton.
And as promised, unfortunately, we have to talk about last night's Rockets game getting chewed up by the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, let's get this stuff out of the way right now. Rockets season becomes more ludicrous by the game. They've lost twice to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That is an expansion team, and that gives you an idea of just where this season is headed. It's headed toward the lottery. But the way the Rockets have drafted in the past, even the thought of being in the lottery is kind of frightening at this point. Rockets' story has become so consistent, it's become boring. After every loss, they say, if we're going to get to the playoffs, we have to start winning right now. Then they go out. Not only do they lose to an expansion team, but get out rebounded 50-33 by a team that at times had nobody taller than 6'9" on the court. And after so many losses, we have heard them say, we play well except for one stretch of the game that kills us. After last night's loss, they said the same thing. So who do you blame? Well, you start at the top of the organization, work your way down to the last guy on the bench, and you don't leave anybody out. How do you fix it? Well, you start at the top and you stop right there. It's going to take smart trades and shrewd drafting to fix this mess, and owner Charlie Thomas has to ask himself if he's got the people in place to do that. You know, when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson a couple of weeks ago, we were all stunned, but when we got over that, I think just about everybody said this is good for the heavyweight division, because with Tyson as champ, everybody else looked like a chump and the interest was gone. But now the interest is back. But along with it, we have an ever-growing list of contenders. Today comes word that Thomas Hearns is thinking about throwing on a few pounds and taking on the heavyweights. Now, Hearns is best known for fighting the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran and Marvin Hagler, and none of those gentlemen has ever been mistaken for a wide body. But But Tommy is 6'1", so let him dream. Also dreaming, Lou Saravesi. He is not a familiar name as Hearns. Lou is a legitimate heavyweight in body and punch, however.
There's a good right hand by Savarese. Probably his best match of the fight. And that was how this was finished. That was a better right hand. That was a better one. And Young is down.
And Melvin Slim Young did not get up for a long time. It was Lou Savarese, the 7th knockout victim in 7 fights. Lou is 6'5", 226, and the newest name on what has suddenly become an expanding heavyweight horizon. He's now being promoted by and is training with the Houston Boxing Association, and you can see him in action Monday night at the Pasadena Civic Center. Savarese is currently sparring with Mike Williams and has been a sparring partner for Foreman and Evander Holyfield.
Foreman, Holyfield, and I hold my own with them and everything, and it's just the idea of going into the ring and relaxing, you know. Fight the same way in here as you know out there, the same way you can in here. Yeah, my dream was always to
title fight.
To fight Tyson when he was going to go for Marciano's record, and I always wanted, that was my dream, to beat him when he was going to go for Marciano's record.
And of course, that's never going to happen. It's now Buster Douglas who is heavyweight champ, and John Johnson, who is Douglas's manager, said today that the Mirage Hotel out in Las Vegas has offered Buster $25 million to fight Evander Holyfield, and Holyfield would get $8 million out of the deal, $4 million less than what he was already signed to get with a fight with Mike Tyson. So we don't know if that's going to come through or not. Baseball's talks continue, and they're continuing to get nowhere. Donald Fear, the guy who represents the players, walked out angry after today's meeting. Not a good sign.
No, she was.
$25 million.
$25 million. We want
and he
to pump
probably
it up,
could not have gotten a reservation in that hotel a couple of weeks ago.
That's true. Thank you, Tim. Ooh,
big
that's
bucks.
Unbelievable. Well, not so unbelievable. Today's drizzly day. It was a real mess out there.
It sure was. But what about Wall Street? Take a look.
Tonight, Chrissy Seaver goes back to the future.
Mom, Dad, I want to meet my fiance.
And it's every parent's nightmare.
I don't really love your daughter. But with a body like that, I'm gonna learn to.
Head of the class is Christine Hodge, guest stars on Growing Pains. Then, Uncle Sam wants Arvid.
Hi. Well, looks like the Cold War is back on. War! War! No, I don't want to go!
Head of the class.
Rodeo proud. More than a feeling, a Houston tradition. Don's Western Wear is proud to celebrate 58 years of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Get rodeo comfortable in Wrangler jeans, worn by the real American cowboys at Don's Western Wear. Wranglers, from the original pro rodeo cowboy jeans to the new Silver Lake jeans for women. So cowboys, cowgirls, get fit in a pair of Wrangler jeans at Don's Western Wear, your Houston rodeo headquarters.
Don's Western Wear is Texas proud.
Reason number 17 to see your Nissan dealer now. $1,000 cash back direct from Nissan on the fun.
Worst over yet?
Yeah, the worst is over, I'm happy to say. In fact, I was a little bit worried about rush hour if we'd have some pounding rains in the area, but luckily that slow-moving frontal system did move across the area. We're already into the dry air. Now, I tell you, there will be a couple showers here or there, but the pounding heavy rains are east of our area, so that's good news. Let's look at the stats today. We had an overnight low, really in the upper 50s. But the lowest so far today, 53. That was when we were raining this afternoon. 66 was a daytime high. That was recorded just before noon today, with officially 1.03 inches of rain. Some areas picked up 2- and 4-inch rainfall amounts. We're going to go over that in just a bit. Right now, the temperature intercontinental is 53, Channel 13 dry, 57 degrees, and still a shower around Hobby, 55 degrees. What we were looking at was this intense storm system in sections of New Mexico. It was swirling around. Now, this is the same system that brought mudslides to California and 1- and 2-foot snowfall amounts in the northern portion of New Mexico. So with it circulating around, it had the ability to take up moisture and draw it to the north. Last night around 10 o'clock, we looked like this. A little bit of Gulf moisture starting to get pulled up into the area. So let me put this in motion. You get the overall flavor. Lots of moisture up here being drawn into our area. We had a frontal system heading toward us. So ahead of the front, we had some power pounding rains. And look at this, the Woodlands, Katy, Montgomery, all flirting with 2-inch rainfall amounts, 1.5 inches in Alief. Satsuma in the northwestern portion of Harris County, 2.5 inches of rain, and a record rain for Rosenberg, 4.01 inches. They've never received this kind of rain before. This was the system at around noontime. The area of low pressure to the south of us, it has since lifted to the north and east, and drier air is working on in behind it. So here is the forecast for tonight. Spotty showers will be ending, overnight low of 46 degrees, and then tomorrow a mixture of clouds and sunshine. I do think we'll have a bit of sunshine by the afternoon, a high of 62 degrees, so we should be in the dry air tomorrow. Saturday looks like bright sunshine, dry conditions, a little bit chilly in the morning, but the afternoon looks pretty decent, and Sunday looks pretty good as well. Now, how do you like that? We put up with it for one more day, but the weekend looks good.
We actually get a weekend with no rain. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I still have 2 days to hedge on the weekend, but right now it looks great.
All right, Joe, thanks.
And coming up, looks pretty great too. Programming-wise, we have the final installment of the Kennedys of Massachusetts coming up tonight.
When I have a flare-up, the paper definitely makes it worse.
Scratchy pain.
Just like sandpaper.
Now there's a lotion to help.
Texans don't agree on a lot of things. Take, for instance, the argument regarding the world's best university. It seems to stir up quite a debate. But when it comes to the best small car value, the decision's unanimous. Ford Escort, the world's best-selling car. Sure, all Texans know the best universities are in Texas, and Ford Escort is the best value. But deciding on the best color, well, that's an entirely different matter.
Dave Ward has a preview of the 6 o'clock now. Dave?
Better this evening at 6. If you put out heavy trash to be picked up by the city, you'll want to hear about the trash police. 4 candidates for governor campaign in the Houston area today. We'll see where they went. We have another Rogues Gallery report spotlighting wanted robbers caught in the act by surveillance cameras. Action 13's Marvin Zindler has another nursing home report. Dr. Ed Duke has more on osteoporosis. And we'll look closely at the drug war in Mexico and along the border. These stories and others coming up at 6. Alan and Melanie.
Okay, Dave, thanks a lot. And coming up tomorrow on Live at 5, we're going to teach you how to dirty dance Brazilian style.
A sexy import from South America. And Peter Jennings is up next with World News Tonight. Good night.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Tonight, reporting from Washington.